That's live today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, is it on?
Yeah.
So people can hear me talking?
Yeah.
Right. All right, boys. Welcome to another class on roadmap to success. So you guys have to interact. Part of the process for any of you, what do I always say about writing? What is writing?
My thoughts.
What is it? It's the thinking part of what? Isaac, thinking part of learning, right? So bottom line is when you take a pen in your hand and you write down, you get them, as you see on the wall, on the glass, there's a map here. This is your map. This is your journey. It's not mine. It's no one else's. But this gives you a framework so that you can move from where you are. You know, Nikki's been involved. Marcus is new to the team. Got some old members of the family here. So what I'm going to get you guys to do, all of you have an opportunity to populate the beginning of where you are. What is that to you? What are you trying to accomplish? Where are you trying to go, Nick?
Needed.
CPL. Beautiful. Where are you trying to go? Queen's University. CPL. So we got 2 CPL. How about yourself, you? Business tycoon?
Agent.
Agent, there you go. So when you say D1 in soccer, be more specific. Give me number one right off the top of your head. Clemson, nice. Clemson Tigers, eh? You said the word Clemson. What color popped in your head? Orange. See how it works? You get more clear. What did we talk about earlier before the class started? About a map. Trying to navigate from here to Toronto without GPS, without satellites. Imagine there's no street signs anywhere. Imagine that. How do we get there? We all know that it's going to virtually always be impossible, even if we're the best at what we do, right? But if you build this map, that's what this is. You guys are building your own map. Just trying to give you some markers so you can see where you're trying to get. How about yourself? Where are you going? UCLA. You know the name of the team?
Nope. There's
Anybody
number one.
know?
Number one.
What about UCLA? What's UCLA's team name? Bruins, do you know what the logo is? Anyone know? The logo is a bear. What's a bear? Captain, controller, powerful. See how powerful that gets? That's going to lead us into where we're going into next. The thing is, by doing this right now for yourselves, you guys all know how to mark on where you're going, right, Nick? And all of you now, because I've talked about a few things, you're now starting to create what in your head? Colors. What color from Clemson? Orange. What color is UCLA? Golden Bruins.
Yellow.
Yeah, beautiful colors. Unbelievable colors. What CPL team you want to go to, Nikki?
Ottawa, hopefully.
Yeah, there you go. God bless. Atletico Ottawa. It'd be fantastic. Hometown boy playing in his hometown. So in order to build out that, what are some of the things that we're going to have to do? When you think about being a top performer, what is one thing you're going to have to establish? You're all students now in school. So what are you doing at school right now? What are you doing with your soccer teams? What are you doing when you go to the gym? What is that considered? It's
Rehearsing.
Rehearsing? Establishing and developing your routines. That's what all the big boys do. If any of you guys, God bless Kobe Bryant, God bless his soul and his daughter and all the other people on that plane. Kobe was notorious for being up at 3:30 in the morning. What was Kobe doing at 3:30 in the morning? Nick?
His routines, working out.
Absolutely. Working on all of the aspects of technical, tactical, physical, and mental, building that in, which is really important. So in the context of you guys being competitors, look what you put on here. Those are big, big things you're aspiring to get to. CPL, Queen's University, Clemson, UCLA. Ewan wants to be an agent, God bless him. When you think about routines and you're a top performer, Nikki, you've been involved with this before. What do you need to do something before the competition? What routine is this?
Night before.
It's the night before routine. When you guys populate that, the concept of the night before routine, as you're writing it down, just think about what that looks like to you now. What do you want it to look like? When are you going to take action on building that? How's it going to impact your effectiveness as an athlete? How's it going to affect your effectiveness as a student? How's it going to affect, as Marcus said, he wants to improve his routines and his relationships with his teachers, with his guidance counselors, just to build out his life. That's a routine that he's building in. It doesn't seem like much to most people, but it's a big part of moving forward. So night before routine, you guys get to populate that. As you work on this, when we build this roadmap for you, and these papers that you're writing on, you need to put them somewhere so that you can what, Nick? Why is this on the wall here? Who's staring at it? It's right in front of us. What happens when you put something in front of you? Look at this water bottle. There's a good likelihood you're going to grab it to drink it. If that bottle's not here, none of us are going to want to drink water. You put things in front of you. By putting things in front of you, by putting routines in front of you, what that's going to do, it's going to allow you to move the what?
Needle.
Move the needle. You're going to move the needle in your pursuits to get where?
Everyone.
Where are you going?
UCLA.
UCLA. What's the team? What's the logo?
Bruins Bear.
Yeah. It needs to become so clear. Ewan and I were talking earlier. The importance, purpose, definitiveness of purpose. You guys are building a definitiveness of purpose. You're trying to move forward. You're trying to get to some place that maybe no one in your family has ever gotten to before. You're trying to transcend your family's origins. You know what I mean? It's an unbelievable place to be. It's an unbelievable place to try to get to. And the fact that we're all here breathing and talking and we're able to move around, we're blessed. You guys get to build that. So the night before routine is very important. You're going to, as time goes on, as we build up, you're going to build it for yourself. It's going to be part of your personal discovery to look at your routine the night before a competition. Take a look at that, examine it. Because you all have one. You just don't know what it looks like because you don't consciously think about it. But then when you start to look at it and you think, well, I just have a bowl of cereal. If that's all you're doing and you're trying to go to UCLA, guess what? There's some guy somewhere in this world, I guarantee you, that's got a pretty solid night before routine that's doing a lot of preparation. What are some of the things you can do in the night before routine?
Study your opponents. Go to bed early. Hydrate and eat properly.
Absolutely. What would you do? Who's your favorite player?
Yeah, watching game days.
Who's your favorite player?
Kevin De Bruyne.
Who?
Kevin De Bruyne.
Where's he play?
That's it.
There you go. What position does he play?
Center attack.
So when you watch him, what are you looking for when you're watching a video to make yourself better?
I'm watching what's he doing with the ball. Where's he looking?
What's his natural tendencies? When you watch him, you know him because he's your favorite player?
He's pretty attacking minded, but he's a really smart player.
Attacking, minded, smart, and a hard worker. Imagine he brings that, just that right there. Imagine he just builds that into his routine. Just like Nikki said, hydration, a little bit of water. What else did you say, Nick?
Studying your opponents.
Studying your opponent, know who your competition is. Most importantly, in all of the context of what we try to help you guys with is work on your controllables. Stay in a process focus, the things that you can control, especially in your routines and anything, in your repetitions. can do your touches, you can move your feet quickly, staying in the controllables. Don't worry about your opponents. Study them for sure, because nothing will ever beat a warrior who's done unbelievable preparation. You go meet an individual that's done the necessary preparation with sustained commitment and necessary time, that becomes a very formidable opponent to deal with. They're going to make your life very, 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 very difficult. And you guys have already experienced that playing against some of the top ballers, right? You played against the best guys. You may be the best guy, but you face the best guy. So preparation, night before routine is important. Then what happens when you go to bed at night? What do? You wake up. So what is this?
Morning of.
Morning of routine. What's your morning of routine look like? Think about how important that is. If the night before routine becomes important, how important is it when you wake up? You better hope you wake up in an organized state. You can't be fumbling through the house looking for your gear, wondering where your bag is, where's your car keys, what time do you have to leave? That needs to be routined, ritualized, and repeated like that. And then what happens? Then you become indomitable. Nobody can compete against you because your biggest competitor, guess who it is, boys? Yourself. Master yourself. This gives you the opportunity to learn to put things into context so that you can do your required preparation in order to hit your maximum potential. Everyone agree with that? It means a lot for sure, right? How about where are you going? Going to the field, right? What are you doing at the field when you get there? When you guys write that down and you do your self-reflection over the next day, go to this list that you're writing down and write it out. We're not going to spend time writing it out because we don't have enough time here. But write it out. And what does it look like? You guys don't know. I'm going to ask you, what do you do at the field when you get to the field? You got 15 seconds. Tell me what you do when you go to the field. You've played, 500 soccer games in your life? So what do you do when you get to the field? Speak loud, please. Yeah. But when you arrive right at the field, what are some of the things that you do? And don't worry about having the right or wrong answers, because that's not what this is about. This is for all of us to become aware of where we are, right? Because if we don't know where we are, just like trying to drive to Toronto, no GPS, no satellites, no phone, and we don't have any street signs, how are we getting there? The more clear you get on what you're doing when you get to the field, morning of routine, night before routine, all of a sudden what you're doing is you're building yourself this beautiful, beautiful opportunity to be what, Marcus? To be great, to be confident, to be successful, to be effective, to be efficient. Because when you increase all of that, what happens to your potential of going to Clemson? Gets higher, man, 100%. Going to UCLA, playing in the CPL, being an agent. So what do you think this one is? I have to reflect on my notes. God bless. There you go. The only reason it's that long is because I actually forgot the word. Doing my job. What are you doing in the locker room? Sitting in your stall. What are your routines in the stall? You got your beats on. You're doing some thinking about the game. That's going to be the next part where we're moving. But being in your stall, being in the locker room, around your teammate, your fellow guys. If you're a defender, you got your little crew. If you're the goalie, bottom line is you're going to probably be talking to the defensive guys. If you're a striker, you're playing who distributes the ball primarily to the striker in soccer. Midfielder, so there's going to be, it's like a centerman in hockey, talks to his wingers. The bottom line is get to that point. Bottom line is I'm going to place the ball, I'm going to place the puck there. Have that communication, what happens? Yeah, you get synergy, and then the bottom line is your effectiveness goes up. And you all collectively become better. So in the locker room, that's a whole other story. You build a routine, and it doesn't have to be complicated, but just become consciously aware. If you've never thought about it, you probably already have a routine, but reflect. That's the key thing for anybody that's taking part in this, is when you're writing this down and then you leave here today, is go and look at it and be deliberate. Reflect on it. If you reflect on it, then it's going to become more aware to you. And when you develop more awareness, then you develop more clarity. And what happens? Your focus comes on, and then your effectiveness becomes, and then everybody wonders, like, what happened to you? How did your game change so much? We're all doing the same training, kicking balls, squats, sprints, but now you're bringing in, I like to call this is the stealth stuff here. This is the stuff with the big warriors. Some guys are blessed with this. They're just blessed. It's just a part of who they are. But the thing is, it's a workable skill that you can develop 100%. Just like you working on your math. Doesn't matter if it's difficult. You get enough guidance and direction and you go to the right people to help you out, you will become more effective as somebody doing mathematics, even if it's grueling to you. Imagine the payoff. Because you go from a 65 to an 85 and you want to go to play at UCLA, what have you just done? You've increased your opportunity, right? So this, once again, I apologize. I have to go over to here. Yeah, there you go. That's a 5. I apologize. So what this is imagine having a routine, because we're talking routines, of what the opening 5 minutes looks like. What does that look like to you?
We usually have 3 goals for each team.
What about the first 5 minutes though?
Usually, like high pressure, player style.
High pressure player style. And what position do you play?
Right back.
So what's one thing you really like to do as a right back? Like, do you want to get in someone's grill to let them know that you're there?
Usually we want to show that we're dominant on the ball.
Want to show you're dominant. How do you do that? When you think about the opening 5 minutes, how are you doing that? How are you building that into your routine?
You're focused, you play smart.
And then what else? You get to write the answers. There's no wrong to this. You're just building out a plan. But did you see how much we just talked about 5 minutes, the opening 5 minutes? Can you recap what you said there, Nick? You want to show what?
Your dominance.
Dominance, right? Number 2,
Play smart
play smart.
and follow your goals.
Follow your goals. Imagine he brings that every 5 minutes. Imagine he built in his night before routine, his morning of routine. He built in at the field routine. He's got his in the locker room routine. And now he's got his opening 5 minutes. What happens to everybody's life when you just build that? What happens to your game? Effectiveness going to change? Even thinking about it, how do you feel when you look at it? Have you ever been directed like this? Have an idea of that in your life? A little bit? Do you implement it? Sometimes. All of you guys, because you're all exceptional soccer players, you play very high levels here in Ottawa, provincially. Some of you are on the national radar probably. Bottom line is when you do this and it becomes a part, sometimes when you want to be at the next level, guess what it can't be, boys? It can't be sometimes. You skip a week or 2 or a month at the gym, you can't. You just can't. And if you do, there's guys that got a month on you, and at this level, 1 month, 2 months, that boat might leave the village. You may not get out of town. You may not go to UCLA. You may not go to Clemson. You may not go to CPL. But I can tell you from my heart, if you dial stuff like this in, and you train like a warrior, like the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, Iron Mike Tyson's, the Kobe Bryant's, rest of soul, and the LeBron James, like look at those guys. Those guys are so routine. I always joke around with the boys here at OPSM. If you went and hung out with Kobe, or you went and hung out with LeBron James, and spent a week with those guys, you would be exhausted mentally to see the routine that they have, because they're so routined and ritualized and repped. The bottom line is none of us are at that level. No one here. I guarantee it. But the bottom line is every single one of you can be there. This is the beginning of your journey. This is your roadmap to success as an athlete, as a student, as a citizen, as being a good person. Because that's what this is about at OPSM. It's building a complete athlete. Bring this to all aspects of your life. So moving over, something that means a lot, not just to me. Nikki's been a part of the family for a while. Nikki, what is that middle number, page number 3? You know what it is. We've been talking about
Imagery.
It's going to point to you. Painted a picture. Clemson, what color? Orange. What's the
Bruins Bear.
Bruins Bear? What CPL team you want to play for?
Atletico Ottawa.
Atletico Ottawa.
University.
Queen's University. Toronto FC. You know what the logo looks like? You don't know what the logo looks like, but it's all good. You know what the Clemson one looks like? What is it?
It's a paw.
It's a paw,
Yeah.
because it's Clemson Tigers, right? The claw or the paw. Imagine the power of a paw, tiger. That's pretty serious business. Imagine when you develop that as part of like your archetype or your avatar. And you see yourself as a Clemson Tiger, and you start getting into this world, and you start doing some imagery. It's all good. It's all good. So based on imagery, talk about being a Clemson Tiger. What are you doing? Seeing yourself. Seeing yourself there. What are you doing there? Where are you walking into? The campus. What's the campus look like? You ever looked at a picture of it? What's the main building look like? Does it have a beautiful grass with the stairs going up, with statues of alumni? What's the stadium look like at Clemson? What's the stadium look like at UCLA? You can only imagine the grass. It's probably as beautiful as Augusta, where they play the Masters, where everybody gets the green jacket. It's one of the most coveted golf tournaments in the world. It's one of the biggest sporting events. Tiger Woods, I think, has won it 5 times. That guy's a pretty legitimate gamer. You know what I mean? So you're seeing yourself. So the aspect of your imagery is very important. So you're seeing yourself. And what do you see in yourself? You guys are talking about it. You're all talking about it. You talked about it here. You're seeing yourself what? What are you trying to become here?
Successful.
You're trying to become successful, being successful, seeing yourself being successful long before you ever get there. What does it look like? We're talking about Clemson. I asked them a question. Bottom line is the color orange populated as mine, because you're turning on those things that make us able to get focused to go and try to find it, because the mark's there. It's waiting for us. We need to bring some clarity, some purpose, and an objective. That's what this is. These are objectives for you guys. This is part of the roadmap to get you to Toronto. But we're talking UCLA. We're talking Clemson. We're talking about Toronto TFC. We're talking about Queen's University. We're talking about Atletico Ottawa. And we're talking about my man Jae Yoon becoming an agent and going back to Korea. God bless him. Because we all have a dream and we all have a desire. We all see ourselves being successful. It's not just in the sport of soccer. It's in the sport of academic pursuits. Becoming the best version of yourself that you can become. It takes work. What about this? You're seeing yourself being successful. What do you do in soccer? You go and do what?
Practice.
Or what do you do?
Perform.
Perform. Go and play, right? And then the bottom line is, imagine you get to see yourself. What is imagery for? Who does imagery out of any of you guys? Like before, are you any imagery at all? Nikki does some? You ever do any imagery work? Sometimes. Who watches videos here? Soccer videos, for sure. That's a form. You're watching somebody else doing it, but then you get to use your mind. Because, 2.5 hours on a bus last week, coming here for last week's class, what happened there is he has an opportunity. only has to be 5, 10, 15 minutes. What he can do is he can work on his imagery. And he can see himself being successful, playing at Queen's University. What number is on your jersey, by the way? Number 9. It's a nice number. It's usually, who's the biggest number 9 in soccer history? Was Pele number 9? It's all good. What about this? When you're playing in a match, you're going to be in what? Certain what?
Situation.
Certain situations. What are some of the situations you may be in?
One-on-one.
You may be in one-on-one. What does a one-on-one look like? When you think about situations in soccer, there's many situations. If you're a striker, you're going to be thinking about scoring goals, right? What position do you play in? Right back?
Center back.
Center back? Left back?
Center attack.
Right back.
You guys are all like, so you guys are all more primarily defensive-minded
Back
guys.
line. Last line.
You guys are shutting down you guys are protecting the house, right? That's what you guys are doing. Very formidable position. Very important position.
Underrated.
Yeah, well, all the glory goes to the goal scorers, which is, that's fine. But the bottom line is, you look at all the championship teams, they're all won with great goaltending. They're all won with great defense. Every single championship dynasty team has killer defense to complement offense, because without good defense, it's almost impossible to have good offense because they're complementary. It's just the bottom line is when you score the goal, we all know that that's where the focus goes, right? We're not watching the 15 plays you guys did in the backfield to get the ball up there for one of your teammates to score a goal, but that's all good. Know that that's good. That's a formidable position to be a defender. Protectors of the house. So in the context of seeing yourself in situations, I just use one-on-one as an example, but I leave it to you guys. I challenge you guys. When you do this exercise in your quiet home, let's take a look at some of those situations that you know you're already really good at. I encourage you to look at where you're successful already. See yourself doing your plays and whatever your finesse is, whether you're a good one-touch guy, your passing execution is impeccable, whatever that may be. And show yourself in your mind, and then you get to run repetitions. And then you get to develop your own highlight reel of your top 1, 2, or 3 plays that you did this past year, or maybe at the provincials, wherever it is, you get to choose. And then you get to build that into, guess what? It becomes a part of what? Guess where you get to put imagery? You get to build it into what? What routine?
Night before.
Night before. Maybe you get to do a little bit when?
Morning.
Wow. Imagine when you're in the locker room. Imagine that. You guys get to build it in. You guys get to be the writer, director, and producer of your own movie. That's the power of what we're talking about. You're being given a blueprint that will certainly give you some level of guidance and focus. You guys get to, I always say all the time in the OPSM family, the bottom line is you guys are driving the car. We're just guys that are at the gas station being there as an attendant. Need a little bit of a hand with something, we're here to give you a hand. You guys get to get behind the wheel, put the key in the ignition, put it in drive, and put the throttle down. Then the bottom line is then you're building your roadmap so that you can take your big rig and you can drive it. Drive it like you own it, not like you stole it. And then this aspect here, the number 5, is looking at yourself and some of your technical with your imagery. You can look at your technical stuff. You can look at some of your tactical stuff. You can run and you can play a movie in your head and you can see yourself just like you watch videos. What was the gentleman that you said you like? Where does he play in? Man City. When you watch his videos, what are some of the things that you watch for? Do you watch his feet?
I watch his positioning.
You watch his positioning? Yeah, because that's crucial for your position, right? You need to be open, not closed. You need to be in the position of the ball. You can't have your back turned to it. All of those things, right? You get to see that, and then you get to run your own imagery and seeing yourself being successful, emulating the guy that you'd like to be one day. And then what does that do for you as far as your confidence when you're going into competition? It goes up. Because if you're able to do you remember the example I used earlier before we started? Being in your basement, doing touches. When you go and do reps, touches, kicking a ball, even if it's 5 feet from a wall, and you're working on your left, because you're not a lefty and you're trying to work on that touch, that feel. Well, you can do it physically, but guess what else you can do when you practice it enough? You can integrate it into your imagery. You can actually activate in your mind, and you can see yourself being successful at passing a ball. If you get really good and you can activate some of your other senses, you'll actually maybe be able to get to the point where you'll actually be doing imagery work and you'll be able to feel the ball touching your foot while you're doing an imagery. That's unbelievable. That's the levels I encourage you guys to strive for, especially if you want to go to Clemson. Especially if you want to go to UCLA, especially for you guys if you want to play the CPL. So third, but not last, not least important, what do you think that is? What's one of the most important things? Nikki, you've been around the family a bit. What's one thing that I encourage you guys to work on?
Breathing.
We do it, that's right, breathing. We do it automatically, we don't even think about it. 115,000 breaths every single day, it happens automatically. But imagine we have the capacity to control it. What the breathing does is the breathing gives you an opportunity to really learn to relax yourself. Next class, when you guys come in, we're going to do a 5-minute exercise. We're not going to do it today. We're going to do a 5-minute exercise. We're going to turn the lights off. I'm going to take you guys through the sequence. That's going to be up here. With the breathing sequence, what this is, it's a 5-6 count. And the 5-6 count is where you breathe in through your nose, count to 5 in your head, and then when you exhale, just like you're blowing through a straw, you breathe out to the count of 6. And then what you can do is you can count. Your exhalation is 1, and then you breathe in on the second time, and then you breathe out, count that as a 2. And then what I encourage you to do is to do 50 of them. So that's 11 seconds. 5 seconds in, 6 seconds out. So you're going to do about 5 per minute. So how long is it going to take you to do 50? It should take you maybe 8 to 10 minutes, depending on your rate. In that 8 to 10 minutes, what you're going to do there is you're going to start to work through your breath. And as you're breathing, as you exhale and you're counting, you're going to start to do a scan of your whole body. Start at your back. Then I have to grab my notes. I apologize. I am human. I make mistakes too, right? Yeah, so that's a body scan. So you do a full body scan when you exhale in a 5 to 6 count. And the reason that you do this, what it's going to do is it's going to take a lot of tension and a lot of stress and anxiety away from you as an athlete. This breathing routine will be brought into the night before. It will be brought into the morning. It will probably be brought in when you're at the field, even if it's for 5 minutes. When you do that, Nikki's done that a few times, right, Nick?
Yeah.
And what's the biggest thing that you feel when you do that exercise?
Feel relaxed, ready to perform. Feel clear.
See all the feel states he's talking about? Your mind clears out. And then what you're doing, the most important thing is, everything that's on this wall, or on this glass, is 100% what? It's 100% controllable. You get to do all of this stuff. You get to build this into your routine. And then when you do the body scan, I encourage you guys to write this down and then you can populate it. You do a body scan, and then you relax, and then you start working from your head. Then you go through your shoulders. Then you go through your back. Then you go through your low back, you go through your glutes, you go through your quads, you go through your hamstrings, down into your calves, into your feet. And you scan, and each breath that you take in on the 5 to 6 count, as you're exhaling on the 6 count, you get to do the progressive scan of your body, and you just allow yourself to relax and chill. It's a 5 to 6 minute exercise. And then when you're cleared to do that, then you get to start building into doing some imagery. Because now you're relaxed and chill. What do you think happens to your effectiveness being able to create that clear picture of cleansing? Look at that. You create a high level of awareness for yourself as an athlete. Very, very, very important. The more your awareness improves, what happens to your game? It's all good. What time we got, boys?
45.
6:44. Right. So just to summarize, CPL Queens, Clemson, UCLA. So you got routines, images, and breathing. There's many, many, many steps to build the ultimate athlete, especially mental toughness, especially developing your roadmap for success. This isn't everything, but these are 3 milestones, if you want to put it that way. Because we've been talking about traveling. So they are a milestone, it's a mile marker. Just like when you drive down the highway in the States, drive down the highway, they have a mile marker every mile. You enter a new state, it starts off at mile marker 1. Then you go obviously another mile and it says mile marker 2. Next thing you know, you're at mile marker 366. But all of that gives you some reference to where you are going, right? Because when we know where we're going and we have clarity of getting there, what does that do for you guys as athletes? There's 3 things that are coming out of this. It's going to allow you to be what? You know where you're going, you have a clear plan to get there. What's going to happen to your confidence? It's going to go up. What's going to go on with your ability to have definitive plans in order to go where you need to go? It's going to be automatic. Imagine that word, automatic. Just like when you brush your teeth in the morning. There's no thoughts in the morning, right? When you brush your teeth. You just walk into the bathroom, put the perfect amount of toothpaste, never drop any in the sink. Always put the toothbrush in your mouth without ever missing your mouth. When you routine things, there's many things to routine in your life, right? Many things. But when you build in routines, you use your imagination, your imagery component of your brain, and you learn to breathe, you're bringing in 3 pieces that are going to make you automatic, going to make you confident, going to make you basically indomitable. And your success of where you're trying to go is going to exponentially grow. Because once your confidence starts to climb, everything in your life changes, and it sometimes changes radically. Nikki's a living testament to that. Just in the context of rehabilitating from his injury, having a successful year at Algonquin, went to the combine this year, showed very well, has an opportunity, and look at what he's dreaming about. When he had his injury, obviously he got sidelined a little bit, but he jumped in because he's been a part of the OPSM family for a while, and he's following the pillars that we have here to help you, most importantly, that's what we're here for, is to help give you a foundation so that you're going to swerve. You're going to get knocked around. You're going to get injured. You're going to get cut. You're not going to get recruited. Don't ever quit because of that. My father, the late, great Johnny Teal, welterweight champion of Canada. That was inducted, won the welterweight championship in 1939, Hall of Fame inductee to the Canadian Boxing Hall of Fame. In 1974, my father had 227 amateur fights. And my father told me, and this is a closing note for everybody. My dad said to me, he goes, there's only 2 times in life that you can't move forward, kid. And the first one is, he goes, when your heart takes its last beat. When that happens, nobody's moving forward. Our game's over. Our song is finished. And then he goes, then the second time, with the look that my dad had, he had a little bit of a boyish grin on his face when he would say it. And he goes, the second time, you know what the second time is? And of course, me being a young teenage kid, 14, 15, barely know who I am. And he goes, the second time, or the second thing, is when I catch you with a good left hook right on the chin and you get knocked out. But even when that day comes, bottom line is you will wake up from being TKO. Then you get up and you stand again. To close today, there's an ancient Japanese proverb that states when you're down 7 times, you get up 8 times. You never quit. You always move forward. Boys, thank you so much for your time. Just on a closing note, here's your big dreams. Now, I want to ask you guys all the questions now. Where do you see yourself now going through this? Has anybody's vision changed? How about the clarity of Queens? Have you seen the logo yet? What other images popped up into your head during this last hour?
That's
Stadium? The number? Yeah. TFC logo, you don't know what it looks like, but you know what colors they are?
yes.
What's the colors? Red, and what's the other color? Yeah, they got red, white, and black. Beautiful logo. What else outside of the sea and the orange of Clemson? What else came up in the last hour? What populated your mind? Stadium. Was there anybody in the stadium? Or were you looking at it from the outside? You were playing there? Do you know where you were on the field? Nice. Do you know who you were playing against? Oh, God bless you. What about you, Marcus?
Perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch. And then Nikki, what about you?
I've been thinking about the UNB Stadium because I was there last week.
All right. So yeah, that's the close on that. And thanks all you guys for coming in today. We'll see you guys next week.
Oh, thank you. No, just and